made simple, energy mastery made simple. Buddha speaks to the Buddha nature within, which is about asking the Buddha energies question answers for the now time and the wake up time. And Shiva speaks conversations with my avatar Babaji. So I work with the archangelics and the ascended masters who are one with me. That is about the destruction of the lower octaves for the establishment of the new higher octaves of this wake-up time. And this is the same Mahavatar Babaji of Autobiography of a Yogi, Lord Shiva, 1008. So each one of these things are long, long-winded radio shows in their own right. And I also give Divine Mother blessings. I work with all sorts of beings and dimensions. But ultimately, I'm here to teach about the heart, amplification of the grounded heart energies, heaven on earth energies, celebration energies, and the oneness of everything, and how there's nothing separate to us, including dimensions and so on. So it's been lovely working with Wanda, and because we're both Librans, and we, both have a certain wisdom, I suppose. And, because I work with certain leaders and shepherds across the globe, and they may not be quote unquote leaders, like I've worked with Leonard Orr and Robert Friedman and all the people in my film, to raise consciousness, because as the leaders wake up to even greater consciousness, then it amplifies the energies for the 7 billion to wake up to unity consciousness now. So it's a really exciting time. And working with Wanda has been wonderful, because she's in Sedona and I'm in England and all over the world and in India right now. And so we send the energies for everybody, and we ground energies and work with the grids and so on, as all of you do, many of you do, and many of us are connected on Facebook. So today we would like to talk about the current energies and where we are on the ascension journey. So Wanda, I'll let you start with that, with, the balancing of power with vulnerability now is so crucial.
Yeah, I mean, this is really, my work is really about going within to working with everybody to go within, to look at their most vulnerable places, whatever it is that where we've said, oh no, I'm just not really going to go there yet. And to actually, whatever resistance that is, to walk right into it, because that's where our power is. So a lot of us right now, a lot of the people that I've worked with in the last year, and several of you are those people. It has been one big year to dive into some of the scariest, saddest, right, fill in the blank places, to come out the other side, so that we now can say, okay, whatever, I'm good, right? Because in order to lock in and stabilize in a higher frequency, we have to get out of duality. We have to go to those places where there is resistance. We have to feel it. We don't have to live in the story, but we really have to feel it, so that when it comes up again, when sadness comes up again, we're not pulled into a story. It moves through us. So heading into this year, I mean, Kat, as you and I were saying, this is really, I think, in the last, I don't know, Rashmi, what would you say, a couple of weeks, it really has felt like, for some people, it's felt like a void. I've called it a tunnel. And then in the last couple of days, I just felt like I'm on, like somebody gave me an intravenous caffeine shot. Like, again, last night I woke up after a couple of hours of sleep and looked at the clock and thought, it can't be. I really didn't get any sleep last night. And I know
we're all tired and wired at the same time, because all the powers are coming together. So, it's like total exhaustion, and yet, like little kids, like, okay, this every moment is so exciting and I don't want to miss out. And so, as we all know, the key to the current energies is to reconnect to that divine child within, and to bring out the wounded child each day and work on the wounded child. And that's us at about 5, 6, 2, 4, when the imprinting began and we had to quickly get into the mind energy to deal with 3D reality. And to give the wounded child and the divine child a name each. And then each day to give that wounded child, as Wanda says, a permission to feel their feelings and to really take responsibility of being their mommy and daddy fully, in a way that our parents could not be for us, because they went back to the wounding of the genetic lines going back. And as we make that wounded child loved and appreciated and heard and give it an allowance to express itself, it becomes healed and whole. And then it can connect to that divine child within. And then you bring the two together as golden light, pop it back into your heart. As you do this every day, like brushing your teeth, very soon there's just the divine child energy. And it's, as we know, it's joyful, it's playful, it's sharing, it's not competitive, it's not mind energy, it's curious. It just creates for the sake of creating. And as we all know, the new frequency now, the abundance of new earth is all in this sharing, caring, and coming out of fight, flight, and the patriarchal paradigm. So Wanda's been feeling this divine child a lot as well, haven't you, Wanda?
I have. I mean, I think I shared on Facebook, I feel like a little kid who's at Disneyland standing in line to get on the roller coaster, waiting for it to show up, right? And I'm just excited for no reason. I mean, except there is a reason. We're feeling these new pathways open up to us that before we couldn't even tap into, right? And certainly you can't tap into them, as Rashmi said, when you're still in your mind and you're in the stories, and you've got to do the inner child work, what I call the integration work, in order to get to this place where you can feel and see, if you're clairvoyant, like some of you are here, where you can see these new pathways. I'm just so excited. In my group call that we had on this last one, whenever that was, Sunday or something, we literally saw it. Like, holy cow, this is vast. Where we've been deconstructing all the old. And what's open for us is so new and so exciting. The mind has no container for it. So, we'll know what it is, right, when it's time. Like Rashmi asked me yesterday, well, what's showing up in your life? Well, really nothing that would make me excited, but I'm excited. So if you all are...
For no reason, that's when we're really in that divine child energy. And that's when we're in that new earth energy, because there isn't a reason. And there isn't a past and a future and an agenda and a purpose and a trying to compete and push and pull, but an allowance of letting things come to us. So all we have to do is, as Wanda's doing now, she's clearing up a place of all the old things in the house. And as we do that within as well, then all the old stories clear out, and just feel the feelings a little bit, or where you're guided for a few weeks, but no 365-day Broadway hit required, because healing is feeling. It's one of the chapters in the book, The Divine Mother Speaks, the healing of the human heart. And then the heart, the divine child, and the soul energies are synonymous. And so then those come forward just automatically, and that's an allowance and play. And through that, the new earth abundance happens automatically. And as I was saying to Wanda, it's not about knowing a whole load of knowledge. It's also about dumping a lot of knowledge now, and coming into the embodiment of just truth, simplicity, and love. Play, joy, sharing, loving, caring. And next year, 2018, which is happening now, everything is simultaneous. And in the now moment, it's all about, it's an 11 master year, which is about world service. And so, many of us are healers, and many of us are serving nonstop through Facebook, I do it through books, through radio, through television, through morphogenic grid work that I do for the planet, through working with the Ascended Masters and the Archangelics, and grounding and being, singing, dancing, painting, writing, speaking. And for each of us, it's different. Everybody doesn't have to be, it's no longer about following a whole load of spiritual leaders either anymore.
Right.
Obviously, if you need a little bit of help, that's fine. But it's not about being a Wanda, a Rashmi, a Neil Donald Walsh, or a Leonard Orr, or whoever it is that we aspire to. But really allowing this God, Goddess energy within us, call it what we will, source light to come through. And I would say not fixating too much on which dimension am I in. I only want to go back home to being a Hathor or a Lyran or a Syrian or whatever it is. Because the truth is we are all that is. And then within that, like with paint, we can paint with a certain spectrum, with a certain color, or we might choose to use all the colors. And ultimately, we can pull whatever we like out of that hat of the unmanifest energies, which are the void energies that I've shared on Facebook just yesterday. And out of that void, 0 point, nothingness, Mahamudra, Shunya, call it what you will, unmanifest energy, spring forth worlds, dimensions, beings, Syrians, Lyrans, Architurians, and so on. So, and then from that space, when I channel the Divine Mother, the Goddess Hathor, or I'm channeling the Buddha, or I'm channeling Kuan Yin, or I'm channeling Metatron, they are me. They are just archetypal aspects within each and every one of us. And so we all, even that word channeling or healing, as one said, it's no longer that relevant, but we use certain words and they mean, as long as we get the sense and we begin to listen to everybody through intuition, because we're all telepathic now. I think everybody, even just people that are not so-called spiritual, and everything is spiritual, including our time away from spirituality. So really it's about not taking the mind and the wounded child and the 3D baggage with us into the new, and then the new stories are going to be just incredible, and we don't need to worry about, every moment in India now, even though I've got 3D challenges, is just incredible, of singing, dancing, painting, writing, speaking, being, and communing with nature and humans at times. So, Wanda, do you relate to that?
Yeah, what you prompted a couple of things. In the past, we would listen to somebody channel, right? And I see this all the time on Facebook. For channelers, big hit, right? Well, part of the work that I do is to get people in touch with your own higher dimensional aspects. You don't need that. I mean, part of the way the energy has changed with these new grids that are in, and the new energy that flows through them, is that you get your own information, and it may not come through like, Archangel Michael's booming voice. It really will come in like, in a very subtle way, slightly different, or even the same as your thoughts. I know. So yeah, we don't need gurus. This is the heart of my work, to get people to be your own guru, so that you don't need anybody else again, so that you and your higher dimensional aspects are leading you through your life, because you all have missions here. So I did want to say that, because it's true, right? Like, I would say for me in the beginning, there was a slight vibrational difference between my higher aspects and my mind. As we clear out all this 3D stuff, what I would say is that I am my higher dimensional aspect. If anything, I don't really go into fear anymore. No, physical fear is different, but other fear, I don't really go into it. But, if you're following your highest excitement in every moment, and you're, focused on your highest excitement, you are being your own channel. So that was really a good point. And I just wanted to say that, because everybody doubts themselves. And that's just really the biggest challenge in this awakening process. You've got to
resting and relaxing. That is an absolute.
Yes.
And I mean, there's another layer of that for each and every one of us. It's the biggest lesson I'm going through right now vis-a-vis 3D reality, where so much is, I always jump and go to 0 point. For years and years and years, I left 15 homes and so many different things. And each time I went to zero, that's when books could happen, and working with world leaders and bringing them into a film and working on them behind the camera. These are world famous people. It all just happened effortlessly and easily. And but now I'm being pushed into somewhere where I wouldn't particularly choose, and yet I know it's all about trust, a deeper and deeper and deeper layer of trust. And ultimately, it doesn't even come to trust, really. At a certain point, it's not even about trust.
Right.
And so, and any teacher, as Wanda says, any teacher, I'm all about self-empowerment. And when people say you're the goddess, I say, well, you're seeing yourself. If they say, you're an incredible healer or hooler or whatever they do, and I say, you're healing yourself. And so we all are all that is. And any teacher who doesn't teach that self-empowerment and the guru within you, it's time to run away from those teachers. And so much of the old 3D spirituality is completely obsolete. As we all know, everybody who's listening to this show, you're all leaders. You're all spreading a lot of light, not only just in your own lives, but you're spreading it out for the world. And that's the greatest service we can do, is work on ourselves as the infinity symbol. And then as we love ourselves more and more and more, make ourselves more and more good enough, okay, whole, complete, without this, that, and the other having to happen on the outside for that wholeness, completeness, and okayness, then that love spreads out, and then we're serving everybody that comes in our path, and it becomes a fabulous dance where, for me, everybody is the beloved. Whether I'm meeting, the 100 people in my hotel right by the Prime Minister's house in New Delhi, or I'm meeting the beggars on the street, or I'm meeting ministers and kings and queens and Prince Charles. It doesn't really matter. Everybody is me, including Hitler. The dark and the light are within each and every one of us, and we can begin to shift the light in us. The voice I hear in response to my questions is my own. Sometimes Tim says, it's a sarcastic response. Maybe it's something else communicating, or it's my own mind talking to itself. Don't know. It's important when we ask a question or we ask for guidance to create a gap and to allow the answers to come to us. It could be through a feeling, it could be through a message, it could be through an omen, it could be through somebody ordinary that comes and speaks to us. And if we create enough spaces and don't keep saying, when is it coming, and get all left hemispheric and impatient, then we will have a sense of feeling that this is aha. We'll have an aha moment or an epiphany or a feeling. It's all through the feeling body, Tim, that you can decipher the difference between your mind and your heart that speaks in the whole of the Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart. The books and the film are all available on Amazon. Is all about energy and how to open the heart and come from the human heart into our cosmic heart. And we're all then clairsentient, clairvoyant, etc. Not just some of us, our psychics and seers and visionaries and so on, as or mystics. And so, but it's the feeling, and also just creating gaps to just be in nature, and to be okay with not knowing, or to be okay with being confused. I think that's really important, wouldn't you say, Wanda?
That's just a whole nother, right? That's a whole nother tangent. With Rashmi and I, when we talk sometimes it's for 2 hours, right? Because we go off into so many tangents. Yeah,
quantum conversation.
We are. Yeah. It's multidimensional quantum speak. Yeah, really. Yeah, we have to be. This actually occurred to me yesterday. I don't know what came up, but humans are so, and I have this strong galactic DNA, so you will hear me say humans are this and humans are that, because it just seems like that to me. But humans are really odd in that it's like we don't want to feel sad. We don't want to feel confused. We don't want to not know. If everything just is in the field of quantum possibilities, and those states are really frequencies, right? Or frequencies, then what's up with that, right? It's the mind. that needs to know. It's the mind that judges. And this is what I would say about to you, Tim, that if you're feeling or hearing a sarcastic response, it's your mind. Because when you're really in that quantum field, everything just is. It's isness, right? It's everything without a story, without a good or bad or right or wrong attached to it. So when you're in that place, you're like, I mean, the vision that they're showing me right now is like a little kid staring up at the stars going, wow, I get to choose. And then waiting until you feel like the pull. I call it the pull, the knowing of go this way. So, you can ask a question and we don't always know right away. I mean, we have to, we have to calm our mind, get in that place where we're empty, whatever that looks or feels like to you. And then an answer, we always get answers. And if it feels good or it feels non-judgmental, that is coming from you, from your higher, I call them your higher dimensional aspects or your teams.
And Lavender is saying that she gets a humorous response. And I was just going to say that the divine child that is synonymous with the cosmic heart, that is synonymous with the soul energy, that is synonymous with the oversoul, monad, multidimensional, galactic, whatever the different words you want to use, that's all part of the unified field of consciousness, is very humorous. Shiva calls it Leela, divine play. The divine child is playful. Any mystic, a true mystic, is playful. A truly enlightened being is humorous. And there are two aspects. One is the nothingness energy that you'll feel around them, where there's a total everything and yet nothingness energy there. We're all becoming avataric energy. And at the same time, there's a very humorous aspect within the manifest. And so that's a key. And it's a great way to get into the heart energy and into the truth of the heart, soul, galactic, avataric, unified field of consciousness. So yeah, I was just going to say that. So that's wonderful. And where we don't know, because the mind is always so serious, and so every time I hear a serious response from anybody, I know that they're coming from their mind. And when I get too serious, then I just start laughing in the face of disaster, and I go into my divine child, and then that just happens, because that's the essence of who I am. Is it is very playful, but because of our conditioning and having to cope in being a human on this planet, we all took on board this mind that has served us. And let us not hate the ego mind. Let us love it until it becomes, as Wanda says, the Buddhi mind, which is covered in Buddha Speaks, conversation to the Buddha nature within. And the Buddhi mind is then a discernment as opposed to judgment. And it is a nowness as opposed to past and future, which is the normal mind. And it becomes the servant, or the boss is still the heart soul energy, and at a certain point they become one. And so it's all so simple, really. It's very simple if we're playful. It's simple if we're joyful. It's simple if we start really releasing those old beliefs about I have to succeed, I have to earn money, I have to I have to have this, I have to have that. In a sense, we are going totally almost naked, and I don't mean no clothes on. I mean, we are being stripped of all the 3D 26,000 years of stuff, and going with a whole blank screen, because we are the screen on which many movies of many lifetimes have been played out. And now we are coming to a lifetime where we're going to be totally human, so to totally honor that, and totally divine at the same time. And on that screen then, we can have any number of films of Walt Disney, as we said, in this show and in other shows. It's that, Mary Poppins draws the little chalk drawing, and then you step in, and it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. But that can't happen if we take I must have this is the only way I do it, I must earn money, I must this, it's a whole new paradigm. There's going to be, ultimately in the future, and I don't mean tomorrow morning, there won't be any money on New Earth, and it'll all be a free sharing and so on. And I understand that we have to interface 3D as well, and we need to honor that too.
So, and what I want to add to that is, you know, when you know you're multidimensional, right? I mean, I always look at when I work with people, so what is the practical application of knowing any of this stuff? It's really not knowing it, it's feeling. When you totally feel that you are multidimensional and exist in multiple timelines, multiple dimensions simultaneously, and as you get clearer, you start to have a conscious awareness of, you know, of them in the now moment. But when you're anchored in that multidimensional place, you really can't look at what our government is doing here in the United States and get all upset about it or anything. I mean, this is just part of this big plan. Kat's asking a question. This is just part of this big process. And this is already done, you know, like everything happens in a flash. So what we're experiencing now here in this slower dimensional reality is like a slow movie where it's all being resolved. I mean, I can barely look, I don't have TV at my house, right? So I always say I get my bad news when I go to the gym every day. I can barely stand to watch it. I just can't, right? Because it doesn't matter. I just can't get too upset about anything because it's over like in a flash. It's only one tiny speck of reality in all that exists. And everything is possible. The other thing is, you know, when you really understand what a powerful creator you are, and we each are, then you can look at all this stuff that's going on in the world and say, and it has absolutely nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
Nothing. Right, Rashmi?
Exactly. I mean, I haven't watched the news for years and years and years anywhere, including, I could actually go to a gym, but I spend a lot of time outside or swimming or dancing or walking. And, but yeah, you know, we can't keep fixing the old, and we don't need to do
Right.
healing like we did for all these years. That was a different frequency, you know, as I was learning all the different systems, relearning in this lifetime and teaching Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and all the different systems of Reiki, and on it went. Because everything's changing into the now time, and we don't need to do so much healing and fixing either. This wounded child and divine child exercise, and it's not an exercise, it's an actuality. That divine child, that wounded child is still within us, and it causes a lot of havoc, the wounded child. And the divine child is our ecstatic nature, is our multidimensional nature, is our enlightened being, is our master self, is our God, goddess nature. As Jesus says as well, um, be like a child to go through the eye of the needle. And it's so simple, but you know, we don't need to keep fixing the old problems or fixating on them, and we all know this. So as we take our attention plus intention into the manifestation of just allowing the divine child to lead the way into play, into divine play, and seeing that the whole of this hologram is one big divine play, and bursting with, you know, then there comes the enlightened beings usually just burst into laughter when they just get freed of that shattering of the jam jar of who we think we are, which is just a body and just a certain number of dimensions now, and certain, you know, even galactic beings or whatever. We are much vaster than that, and we come from Mahamudra energy. So I think in the West, it's really important to understand this nothingness energy. It's really important to begin to embrace it in meditation or however you experience it through nature, because this is the epicenter of reality, comes from the unmanifest to the manifest. And yes, it does feel that very scary for most, because it dissolves the ego mind, it dissolves dimensions, it dissolves which galaxy you came from. It dissolves everything into total silence, total peace, total restfulness. But unless people now begin to take baby steps towards that, And they are doing it big time because 0 point energy has become such a new buzzword. And that's all recent. I've been
Rashmi,
teaching
I,
this for years.
I'm just
Yeah.
going to interrupt you because this is a good place. How would you describe, this is what we called this gathering today, how would you describe 0 point energy?
I just did. It's the unmanifest. It's shunya. It's mahamudra. It's nothingness, no thingness. I just said it's got
Yeah.
no dimensions. It's got no galaxies. There's no body. There is nothing. There's just pure silence, formlessness. From the formlessness comes the form. And this is what Eastern mysticism understands. Every beggar on the street has some idea of that in the East. Not everybody. The East is becoming more Western than the West. I'm a bridge between the East and the West. But there are very, very few teachers and healers and leaders and all that out there in the West that get this. It's what Muji teaches, that when you're thinking, you just go nothing, nothing, nothing. That includes, ultimately, you have to disidentify even from being in this dimension, that galactic, that universe. I come from different universes of beauty that are beyond these galaxies. But ultimately, I come from nowhere and I am nothing, and I come from everywhere and I am everything. And I see everybody as that everything, but my epicenter, if you take a moment to feel it now, is in nothing. And that's the place we go to in the gap between thoughts. It's the place we go to when we become one with nature. It's the place we go to when we become wholehearted and we totally dissolve in singing, dancing, painting, writing, moving, jumping, whatever the activity may be, where there is no I left. Even the I am dissolves in that. And many of our listeners have reached certain places in this, but it's to push the envelope a bit and go over that edge of scariness of, oh my God, if I dissolve totally, I will die. The truth is, even when we die, we don't die. And you won't die, because at the center, you are absolute reality, which is the unified field of consciousness. On the periphery, you are a personality self. That could be a dimension, could be a galaxy, could be a galactic, could be a human, could be all of it, could be an insect, could be a stone. And this absolute reality at your center, the epicenter of that, even with quantum physics understands, is 99.9.9.9% nothingness, hyperspace, nothingness. I suppose you can call it black hole energy, but don't confuse it with phenomena. It is beyond phenomena. It is. Are you getting a sense of it, Wanda?
Well, I'm feeling it. I was going to ask, so, yeah, you're bringing through a really strong transmission, or we are bringing through a really strong transmission right now. I don't know if all of you can feel this, but feel that spaciousness in your core right now. Feel it in your heart. There's real spaciousness that's there, right? And it is that nothingness. And for some of you listening, this is when the mind kicks up. As Rashmi said, when we start to dissolve and feel that nothingness, for some people, that's when the mind kicks up and gets busy and gets active. And that's why you have to get used to this. But yeah, do you want to, while this energy is rolling in, do you want to do an energetic?
Yeah,
Do you want to bring some energy through, and then we'll answer Kat's question. I see that, Kat.
She's not really asking a question. She's saying, I've been surfing this country for a while now. It's a ride for sure. That have a job and doing something is my last push, I believe. However, dollars will be an issue sometime soon. What fun. And she's seeing the humor in that as well. And ready to jump into the mystery. Because, the whole thing that's leaving now is control. And that is the mind. The mind has been there to control and manipulate and regulate. And that's out the window now. That's just out the window. Everything's out the window. And but one thing that is not out the window is this nothingness energy. And this is what the ancient mystics got So, Wanda, you feel this nothingness energy, don't you? You feel what I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I feel it right now. I mean, and that's why I'm thinking that this would be a really good time, since it's so strongly present, that you do what you do. Rashmi and I work very differently, and I will just expand out and bring in more energy to support you, Rashmi.
So I was
Does that
going
work?
to bring in a cosmic heart activation that's very grounded and any other things that want to come true. But does anybody have a request now? If you have a request for something to be added to the transmission, please say it now in chat.
Kat,
Vastness,
Kat has
uh,
a question. Yeah, Guillermo.
too powerful, strong, vastness, emptiness. Yes, that's exactly right. And I can feel that you're feeling it. Uh,
What's your
good.
yeah? What's your question, Kat? Yeah, that's lovely.
What's her question?
About grounding. I've learned to not ground into the earth any longer, into our soul blueprint instead. So she wants to know what you think about grounding.
Yeah, so, I don't know what this soul blueprint thing is all about, but really this experiment of 7 billion waking up to unity consciousness, it's covered in all my books. Buddha speaks, Shiva speaks, and the Divine Mother speaks. It's about unity consciousness for 7 billion waking up. And now it's not, there's free will, it's a free will zone. So whether 7 billion will move, Gaia has already moved, we don't know. There may be a split, and we're currently talking about the split. But the truth is, nobody actually knows. I don't care who they are. They don't know. Not even the Ascended Masters know right now. So part of this is for us to be totally human and divine at the same time. It's bringing heaven to earth. And it's not about giving up being human, though it becomes an alchemized human. It becomes a bodhisattva human. It becomes a Buddha human. Buddha still stayed in his body on the planet for quite a while. He didn't just go up in a puff of smoke immediately. So this grounding is so important because we've done it. We are the only species in the universe, in the manifest universe, that are in such a dense reality. In the archangelics, the angelics, the fairy realms, the other beings, the galactics, they all have a sense of non-forgetfulness of who they be and connection to source. When we choose to come to Earth School, we have total and absolute, in most cases, forgetfulness of who we be and our soul journey. And like a snakes and ladder game, it's to remember all of it. So the grounding is really, really important to the earth, to the center of this earth, and bringing the light down and macrocosm. So it's also within us. So when we say solar flares and this, that, and the other, all the new age ascension lingo, the truth is the same thing is happening within yourself, within the universe is within you. The light is within you. It's not just coming from outside through the photonic energies. And the whole game now is to bring that light to the center of the earth and ground it and be totally human and divine. So that means bringing light to the densest reality in the universe. So it's why would you want to, if you take it to your soul blueprint, you ground it to your soul blueprint, that's right, but then you ground it through the soul star into your heart, and then you ground it down through your root to the center of the heart of Mother Gaia. So we're going to do that now. Does that help you, Kate? Does it help?
I usually ground, let's see, she says, Kat says, I usually ground through the earth and into the space beyond. Plus I surround and see my light around the earth. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's it. That's very good. Okay, so...
and let me read this from David. David says, I have recently come to know that there is a part of me that sits permanently in the center of the earth. It's always there, grounding any energy that I'm experiencing.
So beautiful. I can really feel that. That's amazing. That's the way to go. Maybe to include opening more to pure energy so I won't feel so much discomfort, Angela. Maybe to include opening to more pure energies. When we ground, we also connect to the cosmic energy. So we're going to do that now. So you'll see it's not either or. It's both. And that's again covered a lot in my book, The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, about the pranic tube and connecting the energy. So we're going to just bring in those energies now.
Okay.
Anyone have any requests to add to the cosmic activation? If you do, just put one word in the chat now, and otherwise we'll begin. We'll also bring this nothingness energy, if you like. Wanda, what do you feel?
Kat is saying clarity, and I think that's clarity is a byproduct of what's going to happen. We only don't have clarity when either a lack of clarity means it's not time to know yet, or the mind is, what's happened with where we've been is that everything is dissolving. All of those markers that we used in our lives to say this is how things work, or this is, like we say, oh, you know how it is. Well, all that's gone. It's just gone. And so the mind will reach out to try to grab onto something. And so but there's nothing to grab onto. So we have to get, as Rashmi or I said, we have to get used to not knowing. Not knowing is different than being confused. It's just not knowing, because it's not time to know yet. Right? We know what we need to know it exactly when we need to know it, not until then.
And we have the known, the unknown, and the unknowable. So if we try and wrap our minds around God, the divine, and the enormity of all that is, and even the enormity of nothingness energy, Mahamudra energy that I'm talking about, it's an experiential understanding. God is an experiential understanding, as I say in the film, I, God, and most of the specialists don't. They talk about their beliefs, including Mariam Williamson and all. But the truth is that, as we know, many of us here, it's all an experiential understanding. And how do we get to that place? As Wanda says, through our feeling body. And so why don't we like feeling our feelings? Because we feel feeling our feelings is going to kill us. But actually what's going to kill us is not feeling our feelings. On the other hand, it's a balance. It's not about making a 365-day Broadway hit of energy and motion, emotion. Right? And the grounding, we don't like to ground, because when we ground, we can't be in our minds. Everybody that I know that is spiritually oriented, generally I'm having to ground them big time, because they're not in their bodies. They're up there in the soul star chakra and above. And when that happens, we're not doing a very efficient job. Then we might as well not be on this planet. Then we can go and be a galactic, or we can go and be a fairy, or we can go and be a universe, or an avataric energy somewhere else, where all these. But this is the mission this time, and so we don't like to ground, because when we ground, then we come out of the mind, and we don't like to feel our feelings, because we feel our feelings are going to kill us. But as I've said just now, that you've got to let that energy move a little bit, and then you start feeling empty and light. And it's in that nothingness space of Nephthys in the Egyptian mystery school. We call it Nephthys. You can call it the chalice energy. If the womb is not empty, you cannot have babies. If you do not empty yourself of the old stories and come into that 0 point void energy, you cannot create new universes and new worlds and new dimensions and heaven on earth. None of it. You can't bring your old baggage with you. That's just not happening. Anybody who's going to try and do that, there's going to be a lot of pain and pressure. There's going to be destruction. As I said yesterday on Facebook, Babaji told me, and we know this. All the lower octaves are going to destroy now for the creation of the higher octaves. And we can either come through trust and love, and that's just a reprogramming or a changing the habit from the mind to the heart body, a grounded heart, not just the heart. Yeah. So shall we bring in the energies of Mahamudra also, of nothingness?
Karen has one more. Karen says healing physically, that she wants to bring that in. Physical healing. Do you want to bring the energy in and then talk about physical healing? What do you think?
She wants to talk about physical healing, or she wants physical healing through the transmission?
Through the transmission. And do you want to say anything about that?
No, I'm just going to bring it in the transmission.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe Wanda will start with grounding everybody, and then I'll come through just to get a minute to be quiet as well.
Okay. So I just want you to Put your attention on your heart. I'm going to ground and center you and stabilize us all. Put your attention on your heart. And this is always the easy part. Take that energy that you feel in your heart, send up a column of light through your crown, and let it go up into the heavens, into the cosmos. Let it branch off into tiny little strands of light that look like fiber optic strands. And let them attach wherever they want to attach, on the sun, different planets, throughout space. And then bring that down into your heart. Feel that glowing sun of energy. That's your heart. And then we're going to take that down through your core, through your root center. We're going to go down into the earth. Take it down into the crystalline core. And some of you, I'm feeling it. Some of you, there's resistance, but we're going to take it down into the core of the earth. So you may just feel your resistance. This is really common. And it may smell musty and you may see mud, but we're going to take it down into the core of the earth. See that sun that you brought from your heart down into the core of the earth. Just feel that. Notice what you notice when your energy is there. Notice your light spreading. Feel any resistance that's coming up, because some of you, again, it's still there. Like, I don't want to be here. It's safe. This is what you came here to do and to be. Just let your energy really drop into the core of the earth. Yeah. And then bring it up. Bring this very grounded light up into your heart. And then what we're going to do is imagine that everybody who's listening here today and everybody who will listen, we're all in one big group. We're going to breathe out in the center we're in a big circle, a big faceted, actually what I see is a big faceted ball, multidimensional ball. We're going to breathe that light that you are into the center so that everybody is breathing into it now. Okay, Rashmi.
Okay, so once again, we're going to chant Om from the center of our hearts, our cosmic, human, beautiful hearts that we have activated now and connected to deeply to the center of the earth, through the root chakra, down to Gaia's heart. Breathe in deep. Primordial sound of the universe. And then feel Gaia's love, light, joy coming through the pranic tube, which is if you had your fingers in Chin Mudra, thumb and index finger together, that is the diameter of your pranic tube in a straight line, connecting all the chakras as one giant chakra and a column that Wanda described. And so connect from the cosmic heart within to the cosmic heart of Mother Gaia, and feel her love and support coming through that pranic tube, through the root chakra up to your heart. Take a deep breath and feel it, and relax into it, and feel the healing energy of this. Unless we have our roots firmly into the center of the earth, we cannot manifest anything in this realm. Nothing. So it's important in these times of winds of change. And then connect from the cosmic heart within through the soul star chakra, again one more time, up to the galactic center of source. Breathe in deep. Primordial sound of the universe connecting to all that is. Now feel this column now, the pranic tube, connect heaven to earth and you at the epicenter in your heart. And then we're going to take a moment now to connect to this nothingness energy. So I invite the Buddha energy to come through. And this is, our archetypal energies are all within us. Nothing is outside of ourselves. Everything is within you. You are the universe, and ultimately you are all that is, and you are nothingness energy. So take a couple of deep breaths in and long breaths out, and think Om within your third eye. Feel your pineal gland activate as diamond crystalline energy, and think Om. And feel your forehead expand into infinity, and breathe. Feel your forehead expand into infinity. Feel your electromagnetic field expand into infinity. You are an electromagnetic field of light, love, and energy. Feel it expand into infinity. Feel your forehead expand into infinity. Think Om. Breathe in deep. We'll count Om. Sending this energy into the third eye, the eye of Horus, the crystalline diamond energy within, between our eyebrows, in the center of our heads. So think Om, and let's chant it. Keep feeling the expansion till you start feeling the dissolving. And breathe into it and relax into any thoughts that come up.
And some of you may be feeling a little dizzy right now. Just breathe out. Just breathe out and let go.
And ground more. Ground. Each time you feel dizzy, root yourself to the center. Root yourself to the center. If your roots are like a giant oak, deep in the center, you're not going to feel giddy. And also just breathe, as Wanda saying, just breathe. And yawn and relax. And just relax into this nothingness energy now. Don't be too worried about whether your spinal cord is erect. Just have your feet flat on the floor, or cross-legged if you're sitting on a floor, or just lie flat on the bed if you're on a bed. And relax into this energy of nothingness. Om Shunya 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 Mahamudra 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 Namaha. Just feel it all dissolve. And it comes a lot through this expansion of the field emanating from the third eye. Thinking Om. Every time you go into a thought, just think Om. Take a moment in the silence, the peace, the stillness, the nothingness, formlessness, no time, no space, nothing. You still live, you won't die. And now most of you have kind of gone into this space, and it's a powerful energy together. To be in nothingness doesn't mean you may not feel your body, it doesn't mean you may not have a thought. It's just that you are being the detached witness of that thought, the body. You're just a sakshi, a witnessing, a knowing of that, which, whatever it is that's arising within you. And now let's just take a moment to bring into that everythingness energy, the nothingness energy, the everythingness energy now. So feel yourself as the universe. Just feel, just allow. How? Allow. Feel yourself as the expanded universe, many galaxies, many stars. Just feel that for a moment. Feel that expansion. And then feel yourself as this particular galaxy. You are all that is. Feel it. Own it. And then feel yourself as any particular aspect of this galaxy that you want to call home. Pleiades, the Syrian realm, Lemurian, however you see it. For me, it's the Hathor Venusian realm. One of the places I feel is home in this closer energy. And just breathe into this energy and feel the joy of this. You are always home. You're already there. In linear time and space, you're not. But in quantum time and space, in nothingness time and space, beyond time and space, you are. And then feel yourself coming into our solar system and being that, all of it. And then feel yourself slowly coming down to the moon, coming to Gaia, coming down through the atmosphere into America, India, wherever in the world you are listening, coming down through the clouds into the building you're in, or the house, or wherever you are, back into your bodies. And take a moment to feel that you are also a body and nothingness. However that comes through for you, don't push and pull, allow. How? Allow. The wisdom of ages is within you. Allow. Allow. And then feel yourself as the detached witness of your mind, body, and intellect, of your aura, and all your different aspects, expanding out again. And just come back to your heart, your human heart, and feel the cosmic heart energies as one with that human heart. Feel all the energies pouring, terrestrial and celestial, into your heart, which is one with your cosmic heart within you. And take a moment to bring in the energies of trusting and relaxing and the divine child within that beautiful cosmic heart, which is synonymous with it. And then breathe in heaven and earth one more time through the pranic tube into your heart. Breathe in celestial energies into your heart, both. And then breathe in heaven on earth on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, open the thousand petal lotus of your cosmic human hearts within a bubble, light and love, however expanded you want to make that, or whatever size, it doesn't matter. Breathe in heaven and earth and open the thousand petal, and just observe how much your heart wishes to open. No pushing and pulling. And then feel your heart connect to all hearts across the globe. And feel the Christ grid strengthening, the unity consciousness grid and the planet. And feel your guides and your galactic aspects, your cosmic aspects, your universal aspects, all connecting to the human hearts, the cosmic hearts within, and to every heart on the planet. And bring down this light and love from within you and outside of you, from the cosmos, for Gaia here now as we awaken to our multidimensional aspects. And take a moment to ground this energy through the root, bringing all the chakras together, and feel the enriching now and the amplification of your electromagnetic fields. Thoughts are electrical, emotions are magnetic. We are electromagnetic energy, and so is the planet, and so is a lot of the manifest realities, particularly around this area that we're in the universe. And just promise your divine child now that you're going to be its friend and become one with it and allow it, and your I am presence. Bring in your I am presence. Violet flame, violet flame, violet flame, Saint Germain, Saint Germain, Saint Germain. And bring in now the green ray of Archangel Raphael, spiraling down from the celestial realms down through all your chakras as a one body chakra system into the electromagnetic fields, into the expansion of all that is, and feel the clearing and the cleansing and the healing of your DNA from 2 to 12 helix. Feel your encodings fire Feel your awakening, feel your third eye opening, feel your mind clearing, feel your buddhi mind coming through, feel your I am presence taking charge, feel the bathing of Archangel Raphael's frequency of healing and love. And then a white light of love and light, cleansing, clearing, healing, holding. Holding is a better word for now.
Mm-hmm.
And feel yourself whole and complete now, whole and complete exactly the way you are here now, not in a future moment that doesn't actually exist in 5D and beyond reality, which is where every single human is being pushed into, pulled into, or joyfully moving into. It's a happening, it's an awakening, there's no resistance. And then when you're ready, thanking Archangel Raphael, thanking our ascended aspects, thanking our guides and angels and Buddha and each other for this incredible frequency, and asking that the integration be at a level that is suitable in a time capsule that will go on into infinitum if we choose it. And embodying now truth, simplicity, and love, feeling the inner smile, the inner peace, the inner joy of nothingness in everything that you be. Infinite possibilities, infinite probabilities in the here and now. Beyond time and space, and yet within time and space. Come back to my voice, come back to the space, come back to Wanda, and come back to our circle of light and love, grounded, connected, terrestrial, celestial, all that is and nothing. And from that space of all of these different aspects, open your eyes. When we're ready, Wanda will come through and share her experience for a moment.
You guys ready? Now I want to say that beyond the words, Rashmi's words, there's a huge energetic transmission that came through. So if for anyone listening, if you felt that you didn't get it or nothing was happening, let me assure you that it was, and it still is if you can tune in on it. So that was very powerful, Rashmi. My higher aspects were also bringing in energy. One of the things, so this is what I got. One of the things that happened is that for some of you, your crystalline bodies were more fully activated. And so I got the message to say this. So for those of you that are that might be experiencing physical issues, there is this, you know, you can just tell your crystalline cells to take care of it. Really, it's just a detoxing that we're going through. It's, you know, it could be different things, feeling the feelings that have been trapped in the body, but our bodies have this, our new bodies have a tremendous wisdom to heal. And what many people will do is focus on the problem, which continues the problem. It's really not a problem. You're turning to light. So you can ask your crystalline cells to, or imagine, see your crystalline cells working in your body. I often see that as Pac-Man. So that really came up. The other thing that I wanted to say is, you know, I do this first thing in the morning typically, where this is how I start my day, by moving into that nothingness. And it's easier, I think, for most of us because our minds haven't kicked in yet. So you may want to consider that. And if you need to listen to this again to do it, then, you know, do that.
This is a time capsule, so it can go on for years and years and years within so-called linear reality. And yeah, you can re-listen to it. But how was it for you personally, Wanda? Did you feel the everythingness and the nothingness at any point during the transmission?
Well, I'm still there. I mean, it's really easy for me to be in this expanded state of being with no thought. So I really felt it, and I hope, I'd love to hear from some of you. Angela says, Okay, Tim says, just feeling exhausted now. And then Angela says, and then we'll talk about this. I had a hot flash, then felt cold, tingly on top of the head and body. So I'm going to speak to what Tim is feeling exhausted, right? So what happened, Tim, is just this
High energy.
Yeah, really this, this blast of very high frequency energy came in and basically did a flush. So when it leaves, right, as that's leaving, your body's really creating is recalibrating. That's the word they're giving me. Your body's recalibrating. So that's normal and it's good because you're recalibrating. That's the time capsule.
It's also a form of relaxation, like you're feeling tired, which means you probably want to sleep. What happens in a lot of the initiations, activations, transmissions, call it what you like, is people literally actually want to sleep because that's a way to integrate very high frequency.
Yeah.
David says, such a beautiful transmission, Rashmi. Thank you. Very grateful. Most welcome, guys. And all of you really, all of them went into quite a space there, I must say. People really trusted and relaxed into, there was not that much resistance I could feel. Obviously, everybody was at a different place of, feeling that energy. And then, even if you took that little baby step, then the next time you'll take another one. And then also I brought in the everythingness and the nothingness, which shows you that you're not just jumping into the void and that's it. You can't come back as you, the individual, etc. Because you have, I wouldn't call it control, which is the mind energy. I would call it choice. What do I choose? So we must, let's quit using the word need and want so much into I choose as a master being that I be in the now moment. If we choose in the future, well, that's okay. However, that's a little, but in the now moment, I choose joy. In the now moment, I choose to be eternally abundant. It's totally different from saying, I hope that in 10 years I'm very successful, or in 2 weeks I make $1 million, or whatever that is. So, and as we've said, the current frequencies for 2018 and beyond, and especially this next year vis-a-vis linear time, because we're interfacing all these different dimensions, is world service. So we begin with ourselves. First you put the oxygen mask on yourself in case of a crash, and then you put it on the child next to you. So you begin with self-love, and there's always another layer of self-love. That's a key to love all aspects of ourselves, and ultimately not to keep projecting out on Donald Trump and Donald, isn't it? Is it
yes.
Donald?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so high. Donald Trump and Hitler and all these people, are shadows, and just owning our wounded child, owning the suppressed, repressed, not okay parts, the bits that we were taught by our conditioning as this, we don't go there, I don't do this, or even by our galactic aspects. There are certain predispositions, even of those higher aspects, that are no longer essential, because I can be, for example, a very silly example, I can be Hathor and I can be Syrian at the same time. I can be human and I can be divine at the same time. I can burst into tears like a vulnerable little child, which I do, and the next minute I'm a goddess and a master and a mystic, initiating 150 people that are major spiritual people, and they're like, but I don't understand. One of them goes, are you the master or are you this little girl? And I'm like, I'm both. Authenticity to the moment. So the new energy is not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. Right. It's about being transparent. It's about being real to our process, owning it, and then also having the guts to be vulnerable enough to share it, which is, for example, what Wanda and I have done and what all of us are doing today.
And I just want to say this, or the thought will go out, Kat, when you talked about money, the new energy, the way the new energy is, that my guides have shown it to me like literally walking on water, right? One step at a time. I mean, they give me, pictures that, tell the whole story. Really the way things work, and it's going to be more so in 2018. we take a step, and we don't even need trust. We just know. We take a step and the ground comes up to meet us. We spend money, not, not in fear, but we spend money and say thank you, and it creates this flow, right? They're showing me right now, this is an image that came in one of my group calls, the diamond perched on this fast moving huge infinity symbol, this constant flow. And so they're showing that. Say that.
And this is just so beautiful. 9 years ago, I sold everything I have to do the latest mission, which was America, the books, the film, getting the spiritual leaders of America together, getting Lenador back on track. Huge, huge missions. I didn't know any of those people. I just knew through Christ Yogi Mahavatar Babaji, who's in charge of taking 7 billion into unity consciousness, that this was the mission. And I sold the flat in London that was a temple to teach major spiritual healers and teachers across the globe. And I sold my flat in Delhi, and now I've sold all my jewelry, and then I've sold all my jewelry. And I have nothing. I have nothing. And yet I have everything. I'm, wherever I go, people say, are you royalty? Are you spiritual royalty? Are you a goddess? Etc., etc. And it all comes from nothing. Everything that has ever happened in my life, whether it's a beautiful painting or a book or a film or being the Reiki master or Reiki masters, it all came from nothing, and it was all effortless. The only part was where my human side ever doubted or felt, oh my God, what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. That was the hard part, is releasing the conditioning, releasing what my mother, parent, teacher, minister, friends were saying. And now even my friends in Delhi, I'm like, now my brother's not giving me all the millions my mother left me. I want to continue my mission of divine celebration and waking up of humanity. I'm a bodhisattva. This is what I've come here to do. And I don't want it to stop because I don't have money. And meanwhile, Babaji's saying you continue in your hotel because you're working on the Prime Minister and so many things. And in the middle of DC, in the middle of London, 24 years holding the energy of meditation for this planet. All the rich people I know have left. And even my family is amazed at how does she continue to live in a 4-star hotel? Because I'm an urban shaman. So these are the places I'm meant to be. Mm-hmm. And even now I'm like, oh my God. And even today, just a normal spiritual Indian friend said, you're not ever going to run out of money, because for 9 years I've held that frequency, and for all my life, and I left 15 homes 25 years ago, everybody thought I was going to land in a ditch. I said, I'm going to teach meditation and earn money through being a healer. And then when I got cancer 10 years ago, I gave that up, and now I've been doing everything for free. And every time I have money, I do everything for free. And money just, the abundance is just beyond the beyond. So all we need is the courage of that heart. And what Wanda's saying is just that infinity symbol. And as we share, you see, it's very important also to share and be grateful and to be in the moment, because there is no future moment. And that unknown energy that we're so scared of, because we've been in 3D reality for 26,000 years of this patriarchal mind energy, is just, we take that little baby step and we go, this is really amazing. I jumped and I was caught. And then we take a bigger one, and then a bigger one. And sometimes you're just guided, highly holy guided, as I say, to take that massive jump, to leave the house, to leave the relationship, to leave the country. And it's all unknown, and it makes it magical and mysterious and amazing. Just like all the movies we've loved, and all the poetry we've loved, and all the films we've loved. We don't know what the end of the story is, do we usually? That's what makes it exciting.
And that's really what life becomes when you do this enough, I'm certainly the same way. Not everybody has to lose everything that the world says you need to have. I did. I think I was, really one of the stubborn ones, that I needed to lose everything to get that. And when you realize that you've made it through so many seemingly impossible situations according to the world, your attitude is, hey, I am just excited to see how this is all going to get turned around, because it always does. I want to give you, I'm being guided, and then we'll end here soon. I'm being guided to share something with you. They're showing it to me now that came in on one of the group calls that I do. And I think I would call it a scrambler, right? That's the best way I can use it. And the way it shows up for me is this, they gave me the word supernova. It's like this brilliant ball of light in your sacral area. And they use the word supernova, and there may be some relevance to that. But whenever my mind wants to kick in and do the yes, but, or tries to grab on to something, literally what they showed me to do, and some of you here are using this, I just literally feel this brilliant, like white silver supernova in my gut and walk into it. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, right? And then the way I see it, then I'm in this big, brilliant ball of light, and I am an antenna of pure light that is, tuned in to limitless possibilities. So some of you, I know one of the folks here on the call has used it in a situation in his life, just took care of itself. So they're telling me to just try that now, because I do it, and this is the time for some of you who are listening to really, really step out of those fear, gloom, and doom, right, wrong, any of that stuff, all those stories. So
all of us have always wanted to know. There's a part of me that loves to know. I want to know in advance and everything. But there's another part of me that has jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped. Mm-hmm. And every time I create magic from going to nothing. And most of my life I've done it voluntarily. I wasn't pushed into it. So either we're going to do it lovingly and go with that flow of that new river, or we're going to be going kicking and screaming. So
right.
That's our choice. But the truth is, every time we go to nothing, the whole space gets created. And then we go, why was I hanging on to those old teddy bears when I've got, fabulous new multidimensional toys to play with? And it's, the whole world is my oyster. And everybody is the beloved. Everybody is the beloved. There is no one person, but there can be one person as well that we have as our, partner or whatever, and one house. But I've had houses all over the world. I've been traveling since I was a kid, and through the galaxies. And as good hair me, I can't pronounce your name, sweetie. Is saying he has somebody there in his room and she's gone to sleep. So that's really funny. Yeah, that's a part of healing. If you're burping, coughing, whatever's going on, sneezing, all these are just symptoms that energy is moving and reactivating that which you already be. There's nobody outside, as in Rashmi or Wanda or even Archangel Raphael, ultimately doing it, because all those energies are within us. It's really important to understand there's nothing outside, like, only Jesus can do it. Or, it's very good to have our devotion. That's very, very beautiful. Mm-hmm. However, all those beings, all those energies are within us. We can invoke them. And I just say the goddess Lakshmi, I am Rashmi Lakshmi. People in America that don't even know Indian names, I go Rashmi, they go Lakshmi. And people go, you are the goddess Lakshmi. Because wherever I go, I give money. Wherever I go, I give stuff. I give love, I give joy, and the more I give, somehow, it's not that the same person gives back to me. Not essentially at all. It's not like that. It's not that whole Western, I give you, you give me, what am I getting? So we don't need to do that anymore. And then we just go into a spectrum of being the goddess Lakshmi, being that flow, being that Shiva Shakti energy, being that divine essence, being the galactic beings that we are, that can pull things out of nothing. That's how quantum being is, if you want to describe it from that perspective. Mm-hmm. Right. So we send everybody this golden energy of abundance, the diamond energy of abundance, which we're all becoming, the violet flame of abundance, which is the seventh ray of spiritual freedom. The green ray of Archangel Raphael, of everything becoming whole and complete, which it already is. It's a cosmic joke. We're just coming out, reawakening to the cosmic joke of what we mesmerized ourselves into believing, because it was a divine play. That's all it was. We don't need to even get too hung up with the stories of, being tortured and raped and being the victim and all those things, because in many lifetimes we were the ones doing the same thing to the other, and the soul just chooses different roles to be a villain or not. And so ultimately, when I take people into cellular memory release in advanced sound wave energy therapy that works on the electromagnetic field, on the neuropeptides, neurotransmitters, all these different things, they realize that they did the same thing. There was sexual abuse that their father did, but they'd done the same thing to him in a past life.
Absolutely.
So you don't need to go through all that. You can just have a good laugh, feel a bit of your feelings, and then release all of it. The old story, the victimhood or the perpetrator or the blame, shame, guilt, that's not coming with us into multidimensionality.
No, I mean, we don't, I years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I had past life regressions. Why? Right? All we need to do is feel what's present right now. You don't need to understand that stuff. It's just something to keep your mind busy. It's just something to keep you from feeling, right? Don't do any of that stuff. Just feel your feelings. And yeah.
And nature is the best place to be right now. Being in water is the best place. Bathing twice a day, having showers, using the sacred elements within and without, revering the sacred elements. They are to be revered. They have made manifest reality, which is our bodies and universes and planets, and particularly Gaia, one of the most beautiful planets in the whole multiverse. That's why all the beings have come from different time-space continuums to this time-space continuum for this incredible experiment that has never occurred before. So nobody knows the outcome. I don't care who they are. Nobody knows. Even Mahavatar Babaji doesn't know the outcome of this experiment. Each and every one of us gets to choose, and our collective choices create the new reality that we came here to do. We're the bravest souls that came here to the densest part of reality to bring that light. So remember who you be, and then teach others through your frequency who you be, right? And how are you feeling about that, Kat? Kat, how are you feeling? Can she hear me?
And so it is, and so we are. She says, and so it is, and so we are. She says she's awesome. So, I'm going to we need to let everybody go, but I just want to say this based on what you just said. Here's what we don't do enough of. We don't celebrate ourselves. Everything that Rashmi just said, I mean, if there is one key to the magic of living, there are several, but the big underlying foundation is that we need to celebrate ourselves. I mean, really, we need to, just what Rashmi said, we are the stuff that stars were made of. We are pure
goddesses, gods in the making.
Yes.
Shine your light. Don't say, who am I? And there's a big difference between ego, look at me, how many likes am I getting on social media? There's a different energy between that. And I change my profile picture every day because I want to emit who I be, which is I love being me. I love being larger than life. I love being joyous and the kid and expansive and sharing of my life in every way. And my frequency, goddess frequency, mystical frequency, nothingness frequency, everythingness frequency, healing frequency. And so as each of us do that, not from the ego space of me, I need to be filling that hole of I'm not good enough. It has to come from that space of I'm okay, I'm enough. So you do that inner work, and then you emit that light. And you make it as big as you want, and if other people don't like it, that's none of our business. That's a true master.
And that's how we change the world, my friends, not by pushing against things that are ready to leave, but by stepping into this beautiful, holy, sacred, powerful light and frequency that we are, and to beam that out no matter what. And that's how everything gets shifted and changed. And that's how the magic happens. So
keep sharing, and spending time alone away from the gizmos and being quiet as well. that balance, the infinity symbol. So much, much love to everybody from India and the sunshine, and you know, Happy New Year. And I hope, Wanda, we can do some more of these perhaps in the
We
future.
will. I would love to do it again in January, you know, because
Please share these transmissions with others as well, so that other people, because so many people are going through so much. So let's all share each other's beautiful transmissions, you know, which we do already, many of us, and amplify the energies and make things truthful, simple, and loving. So simplicity is going to be another big key, huge key. Wherever it's not simple, the mind is complicated, the heart is simple. The divine child is simple, the wounded child takes on the mind, so it becomes complicated.
right, exactly. Simple is good. When you feel it, it's time to move. When you feel inspired, that means you need to do something, right? But until then, go play, right? All right, everybody, I'm going to